If you have watched my guide about how to use Rimuru, you should know how his abilities work and that we can build up him in actual stages, not only infinite mode. But after making this guide, I have found a bunch of small details about Rimuru, and combined all together, those small details completely changed the way with which we're using Rimuru in the first place. So yeah, you and even me, we were not using Rimuru right. We were not using Rimuru at full power. So today we will change it. I will show you the 10 tips or the life hacks about Rimuru, starting from small and obvious ones and ending with some not that obvious or super helpful tips. Before continuing, make sure to turn your brain on, we will need it now, and let's start right away. Firstly, we're gonna talk about the Rimuru skill tree, as this might be a question for someone, I don't know how, to be honest. Bunch of the players were telling like, oh my god, it's super crazy to go for the damage skill tree, as we'll get like an insane damage boost later on. Yeah, that's true, guys. But with the damage skill tree, let's check the maximum damage of the Rimuru. So with the critical, it's 700 million. With the damage skill tree, it's 761 million. So we have upgraded our damage for how much? 70 million, right? Which is how much of a total damage? Let me count. I don't even need to count. It's 10% boost of a damage, of a total damage. So yeah, if we'll scale this up, we'll get more damage. But guys, now let's check the critical chance of our Rimuru. I mean the critical damage, and it's 140%. Now let's go for the critical skill tree. Let's use it. Let's check the Rimuru's final critical damage. Oh, what is this? 260. Wow. And now let's like do a simple math. For example, we have a 100 billion damage Rimuru. If we'll go for the damage skill tree, it will be 110 billion damage Rimuru. Kinda crazy, yeah, kinda nuts. I'm not gonna lie. But if we'll count the crit with the damage skill tree, Rimuru will crit for like 500%. With the critical skill tree, he will crit for more than 600%, and he will crit with every single attack. So if we're picking the damage skill tree, we're getting the around 10% damage bonus, maybe kinda more. With all of the dots, etc., Rimuru will get actually good and tasty damage boost. But guys, with the critical, it's just way more. It's actually way more. It's almost like a 100% damage boost or something. I'm sure that I have not counted that right, and that's not an actual reason why critical is better, but critical is better. The skill trees are cooked. The only unit which like needs the damage tree, it's Rimuru, as he just relies on his status effects, and I'm not even sure about this, okay? Like, maybe even crit on him will be better, probably not. But yeah, on Rimuru, we want to take a critical skill tree. That was kind of obvious, as you want to take critical on every single unit. Now, let's talk about a thing which bunch of the players somehow don't understand. Is that when you are going for the stage, why the hell don't you have the magics on placement? Like fire, water, nature, light, and dark magic. And also a perfect seal. Why don't you have the perfect seal magic? That's because of Rimuru's leader ability, a godly ability, which for every unique element on the team gives our Rimuru one magic skill. So for example, I have the water, fire, light, and neutral elements. We're getting 4 of the magics, and even 5 because of the Rimuru, and we're getting every single magic, just like this. Super simple. So if you don't have the magics, or you don't have the perfect seal magic, just take your Rimuru at the first slot, and then it's gonna work. That was super obvious things. Now let's talk about not that obvious things, as this thing was kinda recently added, and this is a soul. You can equip any soul possible on Rimuru, as his perfect seal. Yeah, before that you're not able to do so. Now you can go and equip the Soul of Destruction on our Rimuru, and it will work. As you can see now, he has 17 million damage. If I'll unequip it, 14 million damage. The same goes for the Soul of Intimidation. On placement cost of Rimuru is 4k. If I'll equip the Soul of Intimidation, it will be 3k 750. So yeah, the soul now works. The only soul which Rimuru can equip is the Soul of Magical subtype. So for example, Rimuru Rimuru has 14 million damage. Now let's equip the Soul of the Knight, and Rimuru is not getting the boost as he's not a magical unit. But every single element which exists in the game can be equipped by Rimuru. So for example, the Soul of Destruction for me is the best soul. If you need the Soul of Destruction for different units in a team, you can equip the Soul of Intimidation or the Soul of Jackpot, Requiem, whatever, but the Soul of Destruction is actually the best. It's crazy. Like, look at this passive. This soul is actually crazy on Rimuru. Now let's get back to the lobby and I will show you the next tip. And this is a tip about the tournaments. If you are interested how the hell those players are getting almost the same scores in the tournaments, that's because of the Rimuru. Rimuru is tournament meta. I mean, it's overall meta. He will be playable in tournaments for 500 years and he can be only fixed, he can be only nerfed if they will make the rainbow modifier, which is not allowing you to get godlies into the tournaments, or like not allowing you to get Rimuru specifically. As all you want to do is just go for the tournament with this team. I will tell you about the Grammy later, but if you don't have him, you can just equip any other rare unit with max placements and different elements. So for example, it can be the Prisoner. Also, yeah, look at my Prisoner. I hope he'll become godly at some point, but whatever. If you want to get into the leaderboard, you need to play with this team. This is the best team for a tournament. But how are they getting so, like, high scores? To be honest, that's a question even for me. But the answer is simple. If your game will not lag even a bit, if you will play perfectly without any of the stage stacks or etc., and if the RNG will be on your side, so more of the enemies will spawn just like this, you will be able to get more kills. So for example, I played a regular play, like the first one, and I got 1k232 kills, which half of the leaderboard has, okay? But other players, they got like a few kills more, not even at 10 kills, and now we have a 30 places gap, which is insane, but it is what it is. The tournaments are cooked. If you want to get to the top of the tournaments, you need to play again and again and again and again, and then you'll win. Maybe there is some way which I don't know about, but I don't think that we'll know about it. I don't think that we'll know about it, okay? So yeah, now that was absurdly obvious things. It's not even a tips. Now we're starting to go into some deeply things which not every single player know. Now let me tell you why your Rimuru has like 30 billion damage when he's fully scaled up, and why my Rimuru can go for 90 billion damage. And Rimuru scaling depends only on her abilities and passives. I mean, only one ability and two passives. Now let's just start to build up Rimuru as usual as we are doing this. Before that, let's fully max her out so he will start to make some kills. That's important. And now let's just use all of the skills which we can use. Let's place Grammy, let's place Ichigo, let's use the reality weapon, let's gluten our Grammy. Now let's fully max our Johnny, let's use the true dragon on him. Now let's soul gluten our Johnny, let's craft the skills which we can craft. Now reality weapon, nature, let's gluten our Ichigo, let's craft the skills. Also I made a mistake, we shouldn't soul gluten our Johnny, I forgot to gluten him, but okay, let's just wait for another reality weapon and we'll be good. So let's use the reality weapon, let's gluten our Ichigo, let's use all of the abilities, and now let me soul gluten all of the units. Okay, I did it. Now let's see the Rimuru's damage, and this what I was talking about, 27 billion. Why is it so low? That's because firstly, mainly of her two passives. The first one is the Raphael the Great Sage, which gives our Rimuru 150% of the damage boost for every million yen we have. And in this type of game mode, the Helen one, getting yens is actually super easy. We have bunch of the waves, and if we'll not sell our Idol and Bulma very early, I mean, we will not soul gluten them, we will get a bunch of yen, which gives us actually a lot of damage boost. And next goes the passive, about which I didn't even knew. That's a greater purpose. Firstly, we're getting 200% damage per unit slot sacrificed, okay? Secondly, 50% damage in range damage per 100 kills. And we have a cap of 1000% total bonus damage. Now, if I will retry the stage, and if I will do the secret sneaky build-up about which I was not telling you, and I will not tell till the end of the video, we'll get way more damage boost. So now let's soul gluten our idol and look at this damage buff. 10,000%. At wave 75, our Rimuru has 100 billion damage. Obviously, it's higher wave than before. We got more yen, and our Rimuru made way more kills. But again, because of the greater purpose, we have a limit of only 1000% total bonus damage from the kills. So how the hell did we get plus 10,000? I'm gonna tell you this later on. Now all we know is that Rimuru can be scaled with the money, with the kills which Rimuru makes, and with the soul gluttony. More soul gluttony we are making, more damage our Rimuru gets. Now let's restart the match, and let me tell you about small tips which can help you run Rimuru more easier. Way more easier, okay? So now let me just start the game, and I will combine those two tips. So this will be a tip number 6 and tip number 7. I swear on God, this was not intended, okay? Now let's just upgrade our units. Let's place our Rimuru, place our Johnny, etc. And we only need Ichigo and Grammy. That's it. We don't need to place all of the rare Ichigos. We don't need to place all of the rare Grammys. Let's just pick the true dragon form. Let's start scaling our Rimuru as usual. Yeah, we are glutening all of our units, which we need to gluten. Upgrading our Johnny, soul... Nah, wait, true dragon on him. Oh, hell no, I have soul gluten him. Whatever. Let's just true dragon our Grammy. Okay, we finally did this. Now let's reality warp the nature. Let's gluten our units. Now let's use all of the abilities which we have obtained. Now let's gluten our Ichigo. And again, let's use all of the abilities. And now here comes the tip 6 and the tip 7. Firstly, you might have noticed I was not using the soul gluttony almost at all. And I was not upgrading our Rimuru. Why? As if I will use all of the abilities and grab the Yoxagar ability, the ultimate, we'll get the ability, the Azazar, which will nuke the entire map. And if you don't need to use this ability, if you don't need it, if you just need to scale up your Rimuru, you need to click it. Rimuru will get the damage buff from all of the soul glutens. Not even the soul glutens. She will get the damage buff per unit slot sacrificed, and she will fully max herself. Like, he'll just get all of the upgrades super easily. So, tip number 6. To fully scale up Rimuru, you don't need to upgrade her at all. Just leave her at the first upgrade. Get rid of all of the units in your team by clicking only one button, and it's an Azazar ability, which is tip number 7. In addition, I would like to say that to get this tasty 2000% damage buff, you need to soul gluten at least one unit. I don't know why, I have no clue why, but if you don't soul gluten at least one unit, Rimuru will not get the buff for the unit sacrificed. But if you also gluten at least one unit, again, you can use the Azazar and get the buff. All of you guys was telling, not only me, but other players, that Rimuru is an infinite type unit, right? Yeah, I also thought so. But on my last video, I have proved that you can use Rimuru in a 20 wave game mode. I was not right. You can use Rimuru at a 15 wave game mode. Yes, you can use Rimuru in the story stages. Right now, we are staying at the hardest story stage in the entire game. I mean, by the time you're watching this video. And we'll be able to scale up the Rimuru here. Fully scale her up as much as possible. I don't know in which stage you can possibly go and try to do so, but maybe it can be some portal, if there is even like some portal with 15 waves. But if the stage will have an absurdly tough boss which can't be nuked like at all, you can use this strat. So now let me show you this. Let's start the game. Let's place our idol. Let's 2x it, as I'm actually kinda slow, I'm not gonna lie. You can easily do this in the 3x speed, but again, I'm I'm just slow. I'm sorry for this. Now let's place our Johnny as a starter. Now let's place our Bulma. Let's just put an auto upgrade for Idol and Bulma. And now we need to place our Rimuru on the third wave. If we'll not place it on the third wave, that's not a problem. Let's select the True Dragon form. Now let's warp the area for the dark. Let's gluten our Johnny. Now let's place our Johnny again. Now let's place Ichigo and the Grammy. Let's go and craft all of the abilities which we can. Now let's gluten our Grammy. Again, let's craft all of the abilities which we can craft. I guess we can go for the 3x now, to be honest. I was doing this too fast. Now let's gluten our Ichigo. Nice. Let's craft the fire ability. Now we're waiting for the reality warping for the nature one. Let's use the reality warping for the nature element. Let's gluten our Ichigo. Very good. And we have used all of the basics abilities. Now we're waiting for 1 million cash. With that, let's start to upgrade our Johnny. Okay, we're almost done. Let's put that 2x so it will be easier. And now on the wave 11, we're using the True Dragon on our Johnny. Let's place him again. Now let's use all of the crafts which we can use. I hope one day they will add an auto ability for this one, or at least a button which will allow us to use all of the abilities at once, as it actually takes super much of the time. Like, this thing takes the most amount of time than all other things at the 15 wave stage. But yeah, now let's just grab the Yoxogor or whatever it's called. Let's use the Azadar. And look at this, it's stage 14, it was even a stage 13, and our Rimuru is fully built up, okay? Fully. To be honest, it's a secret for me why does she have this low amount of damage, but that's no longer a secret for me. That's actually hella easy to understand. It's kind of hard to understand why the thing works differently in the different game modes, but we have what we have. It's ALS, it's poorly carded, maybe not, I don't know, I'm not a dev, but whatever. You can get a different damage for your Rimuru depending on the amount of the soul glutens which you have done. So for example, if I will do only one soul gluten, if I will soul gluten only one Grammy, we'll get less damage. So as you could see, I have soul gluten only one Grammy. Now let me do all of the needed buffs and I will show you how much of the damage we'll get at the end. Okay, I have used only one soul gluten. We have this damage buff before the maximum scale. Now let's use the other Dar, and this is the amount of damage we're getting only from one soul gluten. Now let me show you how much damage you'll get from 2 soul glutens. So let's use the other Dar, and boom, that's only 2 soul glutens, and we're getting this increase in a damage, which is actually kinda insane. So yeah, depending on how much of the soul glutens you are making, the more of the percentage you are getting. So even in 15 wave game mode, you can do this damage, okay? And this is not maximum which you can reach. If you'll do more of the soul glutens, you'll get more damage. If the stage will allow you to get 1 trillion damage on your Grammy, you'll get more damage. So you can build your Rimuru up to 50 billion damage in the 15 wave stage, which is insane, which is crazy, but not useful almost anywhere. Actually, a Shinigami Grammy can solo every single story stage, even 1 unit. But now, let's talk about the best team with which you want to run Rimuru. Before talking about the best team, I want to show you why Grammy, Extreme Boosted Grammy, is the best unit for Rimuru. Not a cap. He's the best unit for the Rimuru. And yeah, he needs to be Shinigami. Like, he can be played without a trait, but for the damage boost, he needs to have Shinigami. So now let's start the stage, and let's place Grammy right away where the enemies comes. Why do we need this? As we need all of that Grammy's placements, because of that visionary passive, we need to deal 1 trillion damage and attack the same enemy 10 times without it dying, and then we will unlock another placement slots of the Grammy. So now let's do everything as we were doing before. Let's pick up the bomb, True Dragon. Now let's start to cast our skills, etc. All in all, let's just start to ramp up our Rimuru. But while we are doing this, our Grammy, let's full max him out. He needs to make the damage. While he's getting this tasty damage, let's soul gluten all of the units which we can soul gluten. So let's place all of the Ichigas. Now let's place all of the Grammys which we have left, and let's start to soul gluten them. So I have soul glutened all of the Grammys I can possibly soul gluten. We have ran out of the placements. Now let's see what our Grammy is doing. He almost got 1 trillion damage, and I guess when he will get it, we'll get the placements. So now let's just wait for this. Nice, now we can place other Grammys. Before that, let's soul gluten our previous one. We got the damage buff, and now when we'll soul gluten other Grammys, we still still will get the damage buff. Look at this, we got it. And with that, we can get up to 12 of the soul glutens. 12, okay? Let's place all of the other Grammys. Let's start to soul gluten them. That's even more than the rare units. We don't have a rare unit with 12 placements. That's why Grammy is crazy with the Rimuru. He has some bug with which you can soul gluten his copies if there were the original standing on the field. What I'm talking about. For example, you have placed 6 Grammys at the start of the stage, but you haven't soul glutened them all, and you started to place the other 6 of the Grammys, which you are getting after these passive procs. And then when you'll try to soul gluten the Grammy, the soul gluten will just not work. What do you need to do? You just need to sell the Grammy which you have placed after the passive has triggered, and then the soul gluten will work. But now let's just use the SSR. Look at this damage. Look at this damage. Plus 10,000%. That's actually insane. Grammy is insane for the Rimuru. Overall, Grammy is an insane unit. He's super cheap and he deals an insane damage. But yeah, now let's talk about the best team for the Rimuru. So the 10th tip of today's video. What is the best team for the Rimuru? And you can see it on your screen now. Like, actually, no jokes. This is the best team for the Rimuru. And you can change almost every single part of it. You just need an idol, a Bulma, a Grammy, as again I have told you that he's insane, and Rimuru. The Ichigo and the Johnny can be replaced, but it's better to use different elements, so you will build up your Rimuru faster. Instead of Johnny, you can go and try to use a Garu or a Naruto as a starter. They are insane starters. Instead of the Ichigo, you can take whatever other rare unit you want. It just needs to have 8 placements. It can be Benji if he has 8 placements. It can be Asuta, like, it can be LNG, whatever, you got me. And yeah, this will be the best team for the Rimuru. Usually, you don't even need to use the Grammy and the Ichigo. You are just using Johnny as a starter, building up the Rimuru with the money from Idol and Bulma, and then using the that ability on our Rimuru to fully max her out. Again, you don't even need to place the Ichigo and the Grammy. So yeah, that was it for today's video. I haven't told you like some insane secrets about the Rimuru, as I might miss something, and I probably did. If I did, write down these secrets in the comment section. I will like your message if this gonna be true, so other players and viewers will be able to understand that that's actually working. And thank you for watching. If I have helped you, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next videos, guys. I hope you'll have a good day, evening or night, whatever time is for you. Take care of yourselves, and peace.